Hello, this is Bobby at Copel TV Repair with a functionality proof of two boards that were sent to us at the same time, power board and main board from Vizio 60PN5700-UA. This is the main board, and I'm showing a close-up so that the customer can see some unique markings on the board, knowing that this is their board. Boards that arrive here are oftentimes also marked, probably by us. This is probably marking from the technician who opened it. There might be one on the power supply board too. Personally, I don't do those things. This is our own power supply, so we're doing the test on a TV that has the same power board. The main board is different for that TV, but this one can be tested here as well with a little hack. So nothing was done to both boards. They just work out of the box. I'm showing some close-up with unique markings on the power supply board so that the customer can see. I don't see any that unique markings, but you can see the silicone up there and here and here. This is not something that we're gonna wipe up. That's fairly unique. And once you receive the board, you will see it is the same board. Here's the silicone. Here on the capacitors, that is also fairly unique. So both of those, they work together right now. Power board goes to that main board, which is currently connected. It uses a hacked power button, and the output goes to the signal. They work out of the box. They worked yesterday. Today there is no sound. Nothing is connected because the HDMI device is currently on a different TV that is running to make sure that it's testing fine. The problem was that the customer said that it was starting with the, let me see if I can pull the menu. It was starting with the LG sign showing up. The flickering, if you see flickering, I don't know if you do, is just because of the camera catching some frames on the plasma refresh. That's normal. I don't see that with my eyes. The customer was complaining that their TV was starting only as far as to show the LG startup logo and then was restarting. And that is a very typical indication of a bad mainboard. But that mainboard never shown that problem here. I know they do develop sometimes problems when they start shutting down after they work for a long time. We've also seen cases where they've been hit by a power surge, usually through the HDMI ports. I think we have videos for that, but those two don't do any of that here. They may still be bad. There may be an intermittent problem, but the way the customer described it, starting and going as far as the LG logo, suggests either a problem on the main board, which goes as far as initializing to the point where it has to start talking with a Wi-Fi module if it has one. Actually, this one does not connect to Wi-Fi. Currently, this TV simply does not have, I believe this is the connector for the Wi-Fi. So one thing that you can try, the customer that is to detach that and see whether it works fine. Chances are it is not establishing good communication with the Wi-Fi module. And even though, in my opinion, that shouldn't cause it to shut down, I didn't write the firmware and I don't have the source code, so I don't know what exactly they're doing. It doesn't make sense to shut down the whole TV just because you can't talk. But I've seen that happen with HDMI ports. So if they can't talk with a dedicated, this board doesn't have a dedicated HDMI selector IC, but I know other boards where if the main processor does not communicate properly with the HDMIs, the whole TV shuts down or rather restarts. So chances are it may be something different. Try disconnecting, then see what happens. Other than that, it's really hard. Any other board can cause that. Anything that works for a while and then after it warms up, it may take 4 or 5 seconds. It may just stop working and cause a shutdown. It's a nasty problem to have, and basically replacing, swapping could be the solution to it. Another way to go about it is you start detaching one board after another. In this case, as you can see, the X main board gets power from the power, the X main power the Y main. And so the first thing that I would recommend, if your TV shuts down after a couple of seconds, disconnect that, thus eliminating this portion and pretty much the whole display because of that, because the display is a one huge capacitor, rather many capacitors that are connected between the X main and the Y main, or the Z-sys and Y-sys in the LG world. So first I would say disconnect that, turn on the TV, see if it remains on as opposed to shutting down, and that gives you a clue whether it's going to be in that circuit in the panel section, because if you disconnect it from here, you'll be disconnecting both of those at the same time. Of course, it doesn't matter if you disconnect here, the power cable, or here. In both cases, you'll be cutting off the Y sustain and the buffers and the panel. But if you disconnect here directly, you're going to be cutting both of those at the same time, and you will just gather less information. And if you get the TV to stay on after you remove something, same logic, disconnect this, say if it goes without it. You can't afford to disconnect this, that's the button through which you start. With those, you can't really afford to disconnect that either, because it's tightly related. I think, if memory serves me well, if you disconnect them, let me see what will happen. I think the TV will automatically start on and stay on. No, yeah, it does. Yeah, I can hear it. You can't, but I can. And this is flashing, and it does stay on. So maybe you can try that too. Even of course there will be nothing on the screen. I don't think that's a viable test, but the truth is, I don't know for sure. At any rate, let us know what happens. It's a nasty problem to have, because again, the two suspects are the main board, which is working in our case, and the power board, which is working in our case. So it might be an intermittent problem. It could be a cold solder joint on the power board that, because of shipping and shaking, is just working fine. We're gonna double check that on it. This board is not known to develop such problems. It is known to fail every now and then because of power surge or other things, but not that. So best of luck. Keep us in touch. Thanks.